This is LBC with Sheila Fogarty.
Ed has called from Prince's Risborough, appropriately named. Hello, Ed.
Hi. Yeah, I've been following the discussion. I just wanted to say that I find I'm in my 50s. I'm getting on, and I find it a bit irritating that in our society we're always talking about changing things. There's never a case for keeping things the same way. It's always like all these campaigners who always have the media headlines. There's always the media covering the need for change. Why do we need to change the monarchy? And also, I mean, I'm not an expert on constitutional history, but, you know, there was the divine right of kings, you know, and it got eroded around the Civil War, as I understand it. And Parliament had the power over certain things, but the monarchy retained some of its power, not much. What legitimacy does Parliament, or do journalists, for that matter, or anybody, have to decide that the monarchy needs to be abolished? Where does that come from?
There's a big. Well, hang on. Let me try and answer that question. There's a big difference, isn't there, between the divine right of kings and a parliament which represents people holding a vote on what should and shouldn't happen in the country.
But what has distinguished Britain, the United Kingdom, from other countries is that Parliament has not always had all the power, and a lot of us like it that way. And it's not the case.
It has most of the power.
Let's just put a motion in the House of Commons and decide to abolish the monarchy, but it's not as simple as that. As a matter of constitutional law, does Parliament have the right to do that? I'm not convinced.
Parliament has a great deal of power. It absolutely does, and it absolutely should, shouldn't it?
Well, when I studied constitutional law with Professor Peter Kane at Oxford, I wasn't convinced that Parliament does have the right to do that.
Well, how would you see it working then?
Well,
somehow it gets onto the.
When you look at all
gosh, you're a dreadful conversationalist.
All these things, the House of Commons, the monarchy, their legitimacy comes from.
Angry man. Carry on.
Well, no, it's just irritating.
I can tell, but you're not allowing a conversation to take place.
The media pushing the agendas of minority people. You know, the majority of people want the monarchy to stay, and it just feels like there's a lot of kind of crypto-Marxists who would like to remove this in a sort of Maoist way. They'd like to push this out of the way so that they can get on with their little revolution.
I speak to plenty of people who are much more ambivalent, in fact, not ambivalent, hostile to the idea of monarchy, who are far from Marxists or crypto-Maoists or whatever it was you were saying.
London? I mean, you serve London, and London has gone to the left, hasn't it?
They're not in London.
Of the country?
They're not in London.
Or do you fear offending?
Gosh, you're really not interested in answers, are you?
No, I'm listening.
You're just spewing out questions and then not letting me speak when I try and answer them.
I felt the same way, actually.
Did you? Oh, well, then, why don't we end it then? We're not getting on. Liam in Harefield. Hello, Liam.
How you doing, Sheila? You all right?
I'm all right, yeah. Fancy a conversation, Liam?
You know what, to be fair, I mean, unlike your last call, I didn't study whatever it was with Professor Peter Kay and so on and so forth.
Imagine studying constitutional history with Peter Kay. That would be fun.
Oh, you know what? That was the thing I thought. I thought he was a comedian.
I think he said Kane, but I'd much rather study it with Peter Kay.
There we go.